In a stinging attack on Britain's second female Prime Minister, the pro-Brexit Tory said Theresa May had got Britain into an humiliating state of cringe, begging Brussels for a good deal it had no intention of granting. Instead, she should be preparing to take the country out of the European Union without one, so that it could make the most of its freedom from Brussels' diktat. "We must get up off our knees. Enough is enough," he declared. The peer was delivering the 4th annual Margaret Thatcher lecture at a dinner in London hosted by the centre established in her name to educate people about the late politician's life and values. Getty Lord Lawson said Margaret Thatcher would have been deeply concerned about progress of Brexit. "We must get up off our knees. Enough is enough." Lord Lawson. Lady Thatcher would have been delighted at the referendum vote for Brexit and the government's resolve to implement the result, he said. But while she would have been delighted by the prospect of Britain regaining its sovereignty outside the European Union, she would have been deeply concerned at the current state of the so-called negotiations. "We find ourselves today quite unnecessarily as a supplicant, in a humiliating state of cringe, begging for what is both unnecessary and unattainable, a posture which would have been anathema to Margaret Thatcher. The time has come to call an end to this demeaning process. We must get up off our knees. Enough is enough." Friday, December 8, 2017. David Davis and EU's chief Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier attend a press conference by Theresa May. The government should instead devote its energies, as is long overdue, to making the necessary arrangements for leaving without a bilateral trade agreement and preparing the regulatory changes to take greatest advantage of our newfound freedom. Lord Lawson has long argued for Brexit and the savings and freedom from unnecessary red tape it would bring. "What never occurred to me is that we would need to negotiate a trade deal with the EU because we don't," he said. "The World Trade Organization system is perfectly acceptable. It is the basis on which we happily trade with most of the rest of the world, and on which most of the rest of the world trades successfully with the rest of the EU." Getty. Lord Lawson said Theresa May had got Britain into an humiliating state of cringe. "We have now allowed ourselves to become bogged down in the fruitless quest for a post-Brexit trade deal with the EU, wasting precious time and making concession after concession to try and achieve one. It is fruitless essentially because the EU is determined that we should not get anything that can be presented as a good deal, as that might, either now or in the future, encourage other members to follow suit." Mrs. May seemed to have lost her nerve since declaring at the start of this year that no trade deal with the EU would be better than a bad deal, he went on. And she has allowed herself to be maneuvered into imagining that no trade deal would be a disaster. This is manifest nonsense. It is also the cause of most of her current difficulties. Getty. Lord Lawson. The World Trade Organization system is perfectly acceptable. The provisional divorce deal the PM reached on Friday in Brussels was just about acceptable so far as it goes, but the crucial goal must be unfettered ability for Britain to make its own rules after Brexit, he said. "It is an essential attribute of national sovereignty, which is what Brexit is all about." Surrendering on the point would stop the UK doing its own trade deals with other countries and reducing the burden of EU red tape on small British businesses, he warned. In a further dig at Mrs. May, Lord Lawson, who was Mrs. Thatcher's Chancellor from 1983 to 1989, said the former PM would have been appalled by the explicit rejection of Thatcherite economics to which the present government appears committed.